My name is Claire Halston. I'm 33 years old. And until last week, I believed I knew everything I needed to know about the man I was planning to marry. 18 months together, met through mutual friends, fell into an easy rhythm that felt earned, not rushed. We got engaged after a year. No dramatic proposal, no viral moment. Just a quiet weekend trip and a ring slipped onto my finger like it had always belonged there. From the outside, our life made sense. He worked in consulting, smart, polished, calm in a way that made people trust him quickly. I worked long hours too, but we made time for each other. Weeknight dinners, phones away, a rule we both agreed on early. Present or nothing. I thought that meant honesty. About 3 weeks ago, we were having dinner at my apartment. Nothing special. Pasta, garlic and basil filling the kitchen. Wine poured, but mostly untouched. The kind of ordinary night that usually grounded me. But something was off. He kept checking his phone. Not constantly, just enough to notice. Normally, it stayed in his jacket pocket during meals. Tonight, it sat face up on the table, buzzed once, twice. His jaw tightened every time. "You okay?" I asked casually, twirling pasta around my fork. "Yeah," he said quickly. "Work stuff." I waited. He didn't elaborate. "Anything I can help with?" "No, it's handled." The way he said it shut the conversation down. Then his phone buzzed again. This time I saw it. The flash of something sharp cross his face. Fear, maybe, or calculation. His hand trembled slightly as he picked it up, read the message, and flipped the phone face down. The room felt different after that. Thicker. "Who was that?" I asked. "Nobody important." I studied him. The man who knew how I took my coffee, who remembered my sister's birthday without reminders, who once drove 40 minutes just to bring me soup when I was sick. "That didn't look like nobody," I said gently. He sighed, set his fork down with a soft clink. "It's just someone from my past," he said. "They've been trying to reach out." "An ex?" I asked. "Sort of." He paused. "It's complicated." "How complicated?" That's when he looked at me, really looked at me, and said the sentence that would eventually dismantle everything. "Don't ask about the people I used to know. That part of my life is over." Not angry. Defensive. Final. Like a door being shut in my face before I even knew it was open. "Okay," I said. And I meant it. At least I thought I did. But the rest of dinner felt staged. Forced smiles. Empty conversation. We ate because the food was there, not because either of us was hungry. That night, I lay awake longer than usual, replaying his tone. The edge in his voice. The way his shoulders had gone rigid. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't suspicious. I was unsettled. Over the next few days, I noticed things. Calls taken in other rooms. The phone always on silent. A flinch when I walked in unexpectedly. The man I knew, steady, open, was retreating. I asked again if everything was okay. "Just work," he said. "Big client, tight deadlines." I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. Then came the family dinner. My parents were hosting a small gathering for my younger brother's birthday. Nothing big. 15 people. Safe, familiar. My boyfriend had always gotten along with my family. My mother adored him. Said I'd finally found someone solid. That morning, he seemed normal again. Helped me choose a gift. Complimented my dress. Even joked with my dad when we arrived. For a moment, I thought I'd imagined everything. Then my uncle called. He was bringing a colleague. Someone from work. No big deal. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang. And everything I thought I knew collapsed. The door opened, and my uncle stepped inside first. Grinning as usual, coat already half off. Right behind him was her. Tall, confident, late 30s maybe. Blonde hair pulled into a sleek low bun. Sharp blazer. Expensive heels that clicked softly against my parents' hardwood floor. She carried herself like someone who was used to rooms adjusting around her. I didn't know her, but the moment my boyfriend saw her, I felt it. The color drained from his face so fast it was frightening. Not confusion, not surprise. Recognition. His wine glass tilted slightly in his hand, red liquid sloshing dangerously close to the rim. His fingers tightened until his knuckles went white. She saw him too. Her lips curved, not into a smile exactly, more like confirmation. Like she'd just found something she'd been looking for. "This is Marissa," my uncle said cheerfully. "We've been working together on a commercial real estate project." "Of course," my mom said immediately. "The more the merrier. Come in." Marissa stepped forward, greeting people easily, shaking hands, offering polite laughter at the right moments. She was charming in a controlled way, every gesture precise, practiced. I stood near the kitchen doorway, watching my boyfriend out of the corner of my eye. He hadn't moved. When Marissa finally reached us, she stopped in front of him. "I don't think we've met," she said smoothly, extending her hand. He didn't take it. The silence stretched. I stepped closer instinctively. Then she tilted her head slightly. "Actually, I think we have, a few years ago." His voice came out strained. "I don't think so." "I'm pretty sure," she said. "You might not remember." She reached into the structured leather bag at her side and pulled out a single photograph. Held it up. I couldn't see it yet, but he could. His breath caught audibly. His shoulders slumped just a fraction, like a man bracing for impact. "What are you doing?" he whispered. "Jogging your memory," she replied calmly. He shook his head. "You shouldn't be here." That's when everyone noticed. Conversations died mid-sentence. My mother froze near the stove. My brother stopped laughing. All eyes shifted toward us. "What's going on?" I asked. Marissa turned to me, assessing. "You must be Claire." "Yes," I said slowly. "And you are?" She studied me for a beat, then smiled. "Someone who knows your boyfriend. Or rather, who knew him when he went by a different name." My stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" I asked. She handed me the photograph. It was a professional headshot. Studio lighting. High resolution. The man in the photo looked like my boyfriend. But not exactly. Different hair, bleached lighter, sharper styling, heavy, intentional eye contact with the camera. At the bottom, in clean printed text, "Available for private bookings." My hands went cold. I looked at him. "What is this?" I asked. "It's not what you think," he said immediately. "What am I supposed to think?" Marissa spoke before he could answer. "About 5 years ago," she said, voice carrying easily through the now silent room. "Your boyfriend worked as a high-end male escort, exclusive clientele, very expensive." Gasps, someone swore softly. "I was one of his clients," she continued. "We had an arrangement. 6 months. He disappeared after the first payment." "That's not true," he snapped. "You know that's not what happened." "So you do remember me," she said lightly. My head was spinning. I held up a hand. "Stop, both of you." I turned to him. "Is this true, the escort part?" He hesitated, just long enough, then nodded. "Yes, but it's not the way she's saying it." "You took money from her?" I asked. "She's exaggerating." Marissa laughed softly. $50,000, advance payment. "No," he shot back. 20. That was the agreement. "Still a lot," I said, my voice barely steady. "I used it to disappear," he said, eyes locked on mine, "to get away." Marissa pulled another document from her bag. Signed agreement, 20 up front, 30 upon completion. My mother finally spoke, voice trembling. "This is inappropriate. Maybe—" "No," I said quietly. "I want to hear this." Marissa's gaze never left him. "You vanished. Changed your name. Changed cities. Very thorough." "How did you find me?" he asked. "I didn't," she said. "Not intentionally. You were in the background of a photo your uncle posted online. Took me a while to confirm." She smiled again. Couldn't resist saying hello. My father stepped forward. "That's enough. You need to leave." Marissa turned to me. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but you deserve to know who you're marrying." "Get out," I said. She didn't argue. As she walked past him, she leaned in slightly. "Take care," she murmured. It didn't sound kind. The door closed behind her. The house stayed silent. I looked at the man I thought I knew. "We need to talk," I said. "Now." We didn't talk in the living room. Not with my mother standing there like she'd been slapped. Not with my brother staring at the floor, embarrassed for me, angry for me, unsure where to put his eyes. Not with my uncle muttering apologies he couldn't possibly mean enough. I walked straight out the front door. He followed. The winter air hit my face like cold water. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely unlock my car, and when we finally sat inside, the silence felt heavier than the entire house behind us. I didn't start the engine. I just gripped the steering wheel until my fingers hurt. He spoke first, voice raw. "I'm sorry." I laughed once, sharp, humorless. "That's what you open with?" I asked. "After that?" "I didn't know she'd show up," he said quickly. Claire, I didn't plan this." "I know you didn't plan it," I said, turning to him. "That's what makes it worse. You built a whole life with me on the assumption you could keep it buried." His throat moved like he swallowed something too big. "I was ashamed," he said. I stared at him. "You were ashamed, or you were scared I'd leave. Both could be true, but only one of them was about me." He looked down at his hands. "I wasn't who I am now." "You said that part of your life was over," I said, voice tight. "You said it like it was some old hobby you outgrew, not like something that could show up at my parents' house holding a photograph and a contract." His eyes finally met mine. They were wet. "I didn't want you to see me like that." I didn't soften. I couldn't. "Tell me," I said. "All of it. Right now, no editing. He nodded slowly as if he'd just accepted a sentence. 5 years ago, he began, I was broke, like living in a motel broke. I'd lost my job, had debt, nowhere to go. I was drowning. I kept my face neutral, but my stomach twisted. He'd told me stories about his early career. Struggling, yes. Tight budgets. Roommates. He never mentioned motel rooms. I met Marissa through someone who said she could help, he continued. She had money, connections. She made it sound like a clean solution, like temporary. Escort work, I said flatly. He flinched at the word, then nodded. High-end, private, exclusive, and yes, paid well. My throat tightened, but I forced my voice steady, and she was your client. She was, he said, at first. I looked at him sharply. At first? He exhaled like he'd been holding it in for years. At first it was business. Then it became possession, control. She started showing up places she wasn't supposed to. She'd demand things that weren't part of anything we agreed on. Clothes, locations, who I could talk to, when I could leave. I didn't interrupt. I didn't give him comfort. I just listened. She kept saying I owed her, he continued, voice cracking. Not just time, me. I sat back, the leather seat cold against my spine. And the money? I asked. Did you take it and run? He swallowed. I took the $20,000. That was the first payment. I used it to get out. So she's lying about 50? Yes, he said immediately. She always inflates it. Always. She wants it to sound bigger so it sounds like theft. But you still took $20,000, I said. I did, he admitted, and I didn't pay it back. I stared forward through the windshield at my parents' dark driveway. Why not? I asked quietly. Why not send it back eventually? A check, a payment plan, anything. He laughed bitterly. Because I didn't have anything to send back. I wasn't climbing out of a hole. I was crawling. I changed my name. I moved. I deleted accounts. I cut off everyone connected to it. His voice dropped. I slept in my car for a while after the motel money ran out. That landed like a punch. I didn't want to feel sympathy, but my body betrayed me. My chest tightened anyway. And you never thought, I said slowly, that the man, the person you were building a future with might deserve to know this. I wanted it dead, he said. I wanted it buried so deep it couldn't touch you. That's not protection, I snapped, turning fully toward him now. That's control. You decided for me. His face crumpled. I was terrified you'd look at me differently. I almost said, I am looking at you differently. But I didn't want that to be the moment that broke him. Not yet. What happens now? I asked. Because she didn't come here for nostalgia. He rubbed his face with both hands. She's been texting, he said, calling from unknown numbers, demanding money, threatening to expose, more, to contact my employer, to send things to people connected to my life now. Extortion. The word sat in the air between us, ugly and real. And the message at dinner, I realized, that was her. He nodded. And you didn't tell me, I said, voice hollow. You let me plan a wedding while your past was circling the house like a wolf. I thought I could handle it, he whispered. I thought if I ignored her, she'd get bored. I stared at him, stunned by the naive arrogance of it. People like that don't get bored, I said. We sat there in silence for a long time. Then I asked the question that came from the deepest, most terrified place in me. Is she dangerous? His eyes shifted away. That was all the answer I needed. He nodded once. Yes. My blood turned to ice. And you were going to marry me, I said, voice shaking now, despite my effort. You were going to put a ring on my hand, invite my family, stand in front of everyone I love, while someone like that could walk into our life at any moment. Tears slid down his cheeks. I didn't think she'd find me, he said. I thought I covered everything. She found you through social media, I said. Through my family. Through me. That's when it hit me with sick clarity. This wasn't just his secret. It had already started staining my life, too. I exhaled shakily. I need space. He nodded fast. I understand. But his voice broke when he added, Do you still love me? That question, so small, so human, nearly cracked my anger open. I looked at him, this man I'd trusted, who had cooked breakfast for me, who had held me when my aunt died, who had made me feel safe. And I realized safety had been an illusion. I don't know what I feel, I said honestly. I don't even know who I'm looking at. He closed his eyes like my words physically hurt. I drove him home in silence. He didn't ask me to come inside. At the curb, he whispered, I love you. I didn't answer, because anything I said would have been either a lie or a goodbye I wasn't ready to speak out loud yet. The days after that night blurred together. Sleep came in fragments, shallow, restless. filled with flashes of my parents' living room, the photograph in my hands, the way his face collapsed when Marissa said his old name out loud. I'd wake up with my heart racing, convinced for a split second that someone was standing at the foot of my bed. Work became muscle memory. I answered emails. I sat through meetings. I smiled when required. None of it reached me. He texted constantly. I'm sorry. Please talk to me. I should have told you sooner. I love you. Every message felt heavy, like pressure, like expectation. My family circled quietly. My mother called every morning, asking if I'd eaten. My brother offered to come over with takeout and bad movies. My dad sent one message and nothing more. Take your time. Don't rush your heart. A week after the dinner, he showed up at my apartment. I stood on the other side of the door for a long moment, hand on the knob, debating whether opening it was strength or weakness. Eventually, I opened it. He looked worse, thinner, dark circles carved into his face like evidence of sleepless nights. I hired a lawyer, he said immediately. For what? I asked. For her, he said. Marissa. She's been escalating, threatening to send things to my employer, to you, to your family. My stomach dropped. Extortion, I said. He nodded. The lawyer thinks we can get a restraining order, maybe press charges. That's good, I said, though my voice felt distant. He reached into his bag and handed me a thick folder. I should have given you this before we got engaged, he said, before I ever let you say yes. I didn't open it. What is it? I asked. Everything, he said quietly. Who I was, what I did, why I left. Screenshots, bank records, police reports. I was too scared to follow through on. Proof. I set it on the table like it might explode. Why now? I asked. Because you deserve the full truth, he said. No more control, no more deciding for you. I looked at him, exhaustion settling into my bones. Do you understand how late that is? I asked. Yes, he said. I hate myself for it. He left after that. I opened the folder that night, and page by page, the man I loved unraveled into someone far more complicated. Bank statements showing the $20,000 deposit, messages that started transactional and turned possessive, photos of bruises he'd never mentioned, police reports drafted but never filed, documents confirming his name change. Marissa's messages were there too. Angry, demanding, threatening. She wasn't a scorned client. She was a predator who hated losing control. 2 weeks after the dinner, I called him and asked him to meet me for coffee. We sat across from each other in a quiet cafe, both looking like people who hadn't slept in weeks. I believe you, I said. Hope flickered in his eyes. I believe what you went through, I continued. I believe she's dangerous. I believe you were trying to survive. The hope grew. But I can't marry you. It died instantly. Why? He asked softly. Because you lied, I said. Not about your past, but about my right to know it. I leaned forward. You decided I couldn't handle the truth. You took away my choice. Tears slid down his face. He didn't wipe them away. I was scared, he said. I know, I replied, but fear doesn't excuse betrayal. We ended it there. No shouting, no begging. 3 months later, I heard through my uncle that Marissa had been charged with extortion and harassment. 2 other men came forward. A restraining order was granted. As for him, my ex, he moved to a different city. Started over again. From what I can tell, he's okay. I hope he is. As for me, I'm still rebuilding. Slowly, carefully. Some days I wonder if I was too harsh. Most days I know I wasn't, because love without truth isn't love. It's a performance. And trust isn't about having no past. It's about having the courage to tell it,